Let's find out the story behind this 165-year-old medicine on this episode of Antique Bottle Stories. Father John O'Brien was born in 1800 in Ireland. He was ordained a Catholic preacher in 1828. He came to America in 1841, first to West Virginia and then Lowell, Massachusetts in 1848. There were some divisions between the people when he came. Anti-Catholic and anti-Irish protests had been going on. Father John O'Brien decided he could lead the St. Patrick's Church. This is what it looks like today. Soon after, his older brother Timothy O'Brien came over, who was also a preacher. Together, they led the people of St. Patrick's Catholic Church. Since they weren't part of the earlier commotions in the town, they managed to make friends on both sides. They realized there was a need for schools, so by 1852, 5 Sisters of Notre Dame were brought from Cincinnati to open a school for girls. Though no building was ready for them, the next day classes started with over 100 girls attending. Within a few days, over 300 were attending. Soon after, the sisters were encouraged by Father O'Brien to start visiting the sick people in the area. The church rented an apartment nearby so that a doctor could be nearby to visit the sick as well. The O'Briens' attempt at caring for the ill soon outgrew its site, and plans were made for a hospital. In 1867, the doors of St. John's Hospital, operated by the Ladies of Charity, opened. Here, medical care could be given to those who previously had to do without. Tensions were still high against Irish people, and on more than one occasion the parish was threatened with violence. Timothy once threatened the visitors not to harm the sisters. Practically every St. Patrick's Day, toasts were given to the Fathers O'Brien and all the work they were doing for the community. Their job was not easy. Their own example served as the best teacher. In 1855, Timothy O'Brien caught pneumonia and died. The local paper wrote of his passing and the work that he did, something that was not done for many Irish at this time. After visiting many sick and diseased, Father O'Brien had taken ill in 1855. It didn't seem that any medicine was working. He finally got a prescription for a remedy sold at the pharmacy of Carlton and Hovey on Merrimack Street. They had been established since 1827. Father John was given a tonic that was composed of cod liver oil and had a licorice taste. Unlike many other medicines of this time, the prescription contained no alcohol or narcotics. It worked so well for the preacher that he began recommending it to other folks, and when they went to the drugstore, they said, "I want Father John's medicine." Soon it was called by that name. The shop started selling more and more of it. They came up with a package with Father John's picture on it, and Father John was given a small stipend for it. It was agreed that anyone Father John sent to the shop personally would not have to pay for that medicine. The pastor was always looking after his flock. Father John ended up dying in 1879, and he was buried with his brother. Carlton and Hovey opened a factory building in 1921, which still stands on Market Street, which manufactured, bottled, packaged, and advertised all in that same building. A second factory was built in Montreal, Canada. Within 50 years, Father John's medicine was known far and wide. Early literature claimed it worked on consumption, grip, croup, whooping cough, and other diseases of the throat, which would later come back to bite them when the Federal Trade Commission started breathing down their necks because they couldn't prove that it did all those things. Pamphlets were given to customers stating that all disease is due to a run-down condition of the body, unhealthy tissue, blood poisoned with impurities, and general weakness. For many years, the company was overseen by the Donahue family. The generosity of the management was well known to its employees, even as far as keeping employees long past their need, just so they could have a job. By the 1970s, the company was sold. The factory building was made into an elderly housing unit at the time. I see that it's an apartment complex today, but it doesn't say if it's just for the elderly. You can still buy Father John's medicine. It's a cough syrup. The recipe remains basically the same after over 160 years. It's still a cod liver oil base. Oakhurst Company now manufactures it, along with a lot of other familiar faces. Sloan's Liniment, Jaeger's Liniment, Tonsilline. I've done videos on those already. My bottle is a dark amber bottle. So dark, it's hard to get a good picture of it. It's pretty tall, about 7.5 inches tall. It's machine made, so this would have been made in their new factory. And because it's a cork top and not a screw top, I'm gonna say it's manufactured in the 20s. It's possible that it could have been made in the 30s, but screw tops started in the 20s, so I think this would be more 20s than 30s. The stamp at the bottom doesn't really give me much information. It has a 6. Perhaps that's 1926, but I can't say for sure. And that's all I have for today. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.